Welcome to the 8th and final episode of Voices of Visegrad, a video recap of the most important topics from Poland, Hungary, Slovakia and Czechia. My name is Agnieszka and I will guide you through this episode. Today, we take a step back from the news cycle and ask a bigger question. How far have we come after 25 years of Visegrad cooperation, and where does the Visegrad Four stand today? Let's start unpacking.
From the very beginning, the Visegrad Group was an ambitious Central European experiment, defined by a shared destination and a clear goal: to one day break free from Russia's orbit and join both NATO and the European Union. That common ambition gave the group its coherence, and once it was achieved, the journey didn't stop there. It became a platform for shared development and the soft export of democracy in Eastern Partnership countries and the Western Balkans. Over the past few years, the democratic credibility has come under serious pressure within the group. Scandals have undermined public trust, social polarization has grown, institutions have often been blocked, and some leaders have used history or external threats for their own political gain. Over a quarter of a century, and within the EU single market as a foundation, the four countries significantly narrowed the income gap with Western Europe. They built interlocking supply chains, especially in the automotive sector, coordinated investment strategies, and created recognizable investment brand. This transformed economies that had recently been centrally planned into one of Europe's most dynamic manufacturing and service hubs. Tens of billions of euros flowed into greenfield projects in car manufacturing, batteries, logistics, and shared service centers, and the region today hosts a growing number of high-value tech and startup firms. Some of the region's strongest niches are in the areas where proximity to real wartime threat creates demand that others in Europe cannot easily replicate. This includes fintech, enterprise software, cybersecurity, defense tech, all of which attract investment from around the world. Underpinning to all of this is human capital. Today, the V4 produces more STEM graduates a year than the United States and continues to deepen its pool of skilled workers. The Visegrad brand has survived domestic political crises and global economic shocks alike. But one key piece of unfinished business remains, and this is energy security. Poland and Czechia made the hard choices early. Poland opened its LNG terminal in 2015 and later the Baltic Pipe, and by 2025 it had reduced Russian gas imports to zero. Czechia also ended Russian crude imports and phased out Russian gas, becoming a model of rapid energy security reform in the region. Hungary and Slovakia took a little different path. Hungary signed a 15-year deal with Gazprom just before Russia's full-scale invasion in 2022 and still imports Russian crude and gas through Druzhba pipeline. Slovakia remains heavily dependent as well, even though new interconnectors through Austria, Croatia and Poland could already cover most of its demand from diverse sources. Because the whole region is so deeply interconnected, the path to real energy security runs through deeper cooperation under frameworks like the Three Seas Initiative. Launched in the second half of 2010, it now includes major infrastructure projects in transport, energy or digital connectivity stretching from the Baltic to the Adriatic and the Black Seas. They are not just economic projects. In the context of war in Ukraine, North-South connectivity has become a defense question. The ability to move NATO troops and equipment quickly along the eastern flank depends on the infrastructure that until recently simply did not exist. Russia's invasion also transformed V4 defense industries, turning them from the net consumers of European security into genuine contributors. Czechia dramatically increased ammunition and arms production, and Slovakia followed, making defense one of the region's flagship sectors. Poland is setting records on defense spending, while the EU is creating new tools for joint procurement and defense modernization across Central and Eastern Europe. On the ground, cooperation in drones, artillery, and air defense is reinforced by direct collaboration with Ukraine, whose firms and engineers bring battlefield experience and innovation that no other partner can match.
To get even more on how the Visegrad countries have quietly reshaped Central Europe's democratic and economic security and the challenges they face along the way, read the new Voices of Visegrad article by Magda Jakubowska on our website, which brings together the strongest insights from across the entire series.
When the Visegrad Four was funded, more than 30 years ago, it was simply a group of post-communist countries in one fractured corner of Europe. Today, it's a group of NATO members with interlocking economies and hard-won democratic institutions that have turned the region into a space of shared prosperity. But the group faces serious tests right now. Political divergences have deepened, and so have the disputes over the rule of law, relations with Russia, the future of European integration, and where the real threats are. For Poland and Czechia, Russia's revisionism is an immediate reality, and public support for continued military aid to Ukraine remains very high, at around 2/3 of respondents. In Slovakia and Hungary, those figures are much lower, in part because both governments have used the war to scapegoat Ukraine, presenting Kyiv as a drain of national resources or even a threat to their security. Yet it's worth remembering that V4 has navigated serious tensions before, and each time it has rediscovered the value of solidarity and common purpose. The group may not speak with one voice on Ukraine right now, but it can still act in ways that matter, especially where economic and defense interests overlap. Whether the next chapter is written out under a broader European label or under the V4 banner, the core Visegrad still holds. Central Europe is stronger when it acts together. And in a world of mounting geopolitical competition, the ability of those four countries to find common ground on democracy, security, development may matter more than any other point since 1989. If you want to keep following how this story unfolds, subscribe to Visegrad Insight on our website and follow our social media for more analysis and voices from across the region. We'll see you there.
This was the last of our episodes of the Voices of Visegrad. We hope that you enjoyed this series and will follow Visegrad Insight for more texts and videos. Please subscribe if you enjoyed and give us a thumbs up.